After an enormous win in week 1, it's up to Jayden Love to keep the energy going in a battle for the crown of the best quarterback in the NFC.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers, the #1 Packers podcast on the internet, and the show for fans who know what happened. They want to know why and how. Thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen every day. We hope you like starting your day with us as much as we like starting our day with you. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Jayden Love was extremely efficient on Sunday. And I have said since the beginning of this offseason that a healthy Jayden Love was going to show everyone that he is an elite quarterback, that he is a no doubt top 10 quarterback. And in week 1, he was second in the NFL in EPA per dropback. By the way, that includes the Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen craziness that we saw on Sunday night. Lamar Jackson led the league in EPA per dropback, EPA per play. Jayden Love was second. That's how efficient he was. And did they take their foot off the gas a little bit in the second half? Maybe they did. It was really just one possession. They didn't have the ball very much at all. When you look at what Jayden Love was able to do and how he handled the pressure, how he handled the blitz, he has the opportunity now to go against Jayden Daniels and feel like, I deserve to be in the conversation that Jayden Daniels is in. Why am I not the best quarterback in the NFC? If you're Jayden Love, that's exactly how you go into this game. And that doesn't mean you feel like you have to go out there and press and you have to prove anything to anybody in that locker room. But if you want to win this game, you may just have to go out and score 30. And you may have to be the reason the team goes out and scores 30. The Packers could not run the ball against the Detroit Lions. It had to be Jayden Love scoring, and then they got a stop, a punt return that set up that third score, and that was the score really that allowed the Packers to put this game away. But Jayden Love did what he needed to do. And this 12 personnel thing, this is working. Jayden Love was 7 of 8 for 77 yards out of 2 tight end sets against the Detroit Lions. The Washington Commanders are not really built to play against those sorts of big bodies. If the Packers want to just get into 12 and run the ball against this Commanders front, I think they can do it. They're not particularly big, but I also remember the last time Jayden Love played Dan Quinn. The Packers scored 48 points in Dallas against the top 10 defense, and Jayden Love absolutely rocked that Dallas Cowboys defense. Against the Detroit Lions, with Aiden Hutchinson, Jayden Love went 16 of 22. He had an average depth of target of 11.5. That is ridiculous. They consistently pushed the ball down the field. This was, as they like to say on the Athletic Football Show and elsewhere, honorable quarterback play from the pocket. And it's pre-snap, making every right read, setting the protections. You can say, oh, well, he had all day to throw. Okay, watch the touchdown. He resets the protection and finds Tucker Kraft. The big third down seam ball to Jayden Reed. They get set, he resets, tweaks something, and finds Jayden Reed wide open. It is pre-snap, it is post-snap. Just watch the cut-ups. If you watch the all 22 end zone view cut-ups, you watch his eyes go 1 to 2, 1 to 2 to 3, 1 to 2 to check down, one ball out. It is consistently eyes in the right place, getting to the right places. He can play the position at an extremely high level. Oh, you want to blitz him? 8 of 9 for 128, a touchdown, and 5 first downs against the blitz. The Detroit Lions gave up a 155.8 passer rating to Jordan Love when they blitzed him. I don't know how the Commanders are going to get pressure unless they blitz. Even with some of the injuries that you're seeing with this Packers offensive line, we don't know the status of Zach Tom. We don't know the status of Aaron Banks. They were estimated, they didn't practice on Monday, but they were estimated as DNPs. We'll see what that looks like moving forward. But Jordan Love, healthy Jordan Love, can handle pressure because he can move. He's not worried about getting hit. He's not worried about having to protect his body. Jordan Love, with a clean pocket, is an assassin. The quote from Steve Calhoun that I put in the piece in The Leap is, when he's on balance, he can knock the wing off a butterfly. He had 4 big-time throws against the Lions. 4. That's the most he's had in a single week since week 17, 2023. That according to Jacob Morley, our pal from Packer Report. Remember that game, that 2023 Vikings game where he's just chucking it all over the yard? He didn't have 4 big-time throws against Dallas in the playoff game. He leads the NFL in big-time throw percentage. Almost 20% of his throws were big-time throws. That's crazy. And this is what he's able to do. He had a 25% big-time throw rate against the blitz. This version of Jordan Love is an elite quarterback. And I know people will get mad and they'll say you're jinxing him, but the Packers put this out. So this is not on me. This is not on me. The Packers dope sheet that Jordan Love has now attempted 195 consecutive regular season passes without an interception. 8 straight games without throwing a pick. That is the longest stretch by a quarterback in Green Bay since Aaron Rodgers in not 2021 when Aaron Rodgers won MVP. Not 2020 when Aaron Rodgers also won MVP. But 2019. Half a season not throwing an interception. So this whole idea that Jordan Love is some like crazy reckless quarterback. He hasn't thrown an interception in half a regular season. And we're sitting here talking about, Jordan Love. Erratic. Jordan Love completed 82% of his passes when he was kept clean. The second highest number since the start of 2024. This is according to Felipe Reyes-Acetti. One of the best performances of his career. Coincidence that he did it against the Lions? One of his other signature regular season wins? Oh, but I thought Jordan Love can't win these big games. No, Jordan Love can be the reason that the Packers can beat anybody. Could he go toe-to-toe with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson in a game like we saw on Sunday and win that game? Look, I don't know. He's never really had to do that. The last shootout he found himself in was against the Lions. He brought them all the way back from down multiple scores, and they took the lead. They had the play called back. They tied the game. He scored 30. Packers defense couldn't get a stop. Now that's the Lions team. That's Jared Goff, not Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. He's gone head-to-head with Patrick Mahomes. Outplayed him twice. He's going to get a chance to play Lamar Jackson. He's going to get a chance to play Joe Burrow this season. He's going to get a chance to play Aaron Rodgers this season. They played a shootout in week 1. This is the prove-it season for Jordan Love. And I don't mean I'm a starting quarterback, I'm a good player. No, it's I'm one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL because Jordan Love can be that. He has been that top 10, probably between the 8th and 10th best quarterback, if you want to be very uncharitable. 8th and 12th best quarterback in the NFL by productivity since he came into the league. And by the end of the year, I will say it again, he will be a consensus top 6, top 8 type quarterback. And he will be one of the reasons that this team is a Super Bowl caliber team all season long. All right, Lily Zhao joins us next here on Locked On Packers. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. Plus, the part-time tools and 3D schematics can help save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Today's episode also brought to you by our friends at Game Time. The NFL season is so back, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by the fans, cheering for your team. And let's be honest, getting tickets can be a hassle. Between queues, login screens, prices jumping at checkout, it's frustrating. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives you the advantage, and it gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. There's still good seats available for Packers Commanders on Thursday night. We saw what happened. There were some Lions fans invaded Lambeau. You don't want that to happen with the Commanders. Come on. You don't let that happen. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Micah Parsons plays for the Green Bay Packers. I don't know if you guys heard that. I think you did, because he was incredible in very limited snaps in week 1. The Packers, not limited. They were Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited on Sunday. A dominant performance against the Detroit Lions. I'm so sorry for that reference. Lily Zhao from Fox 6 joins us. And because the Packers opened at home for the first time in the Matt LaFleur era, they are now 1-0. Starting out after a raucous win at Lambeau Field. Lily, how you doing?
Peter, I'm doing well. I know a lot of us talked about this narrative of Super Bowl or bust with Micah Parsons coming to town. And the Packers certainly proved they can be on that trajectory, especially after a nice week 1 win. So I am doing well. I know everyone who's a green and gold fan is doing super well. How you doing?
I'm good. Consuming all of the content this week. I don't always like to consume it. If it's mediocre game or a Packers lose, maybe I'll opt out of some of it. I was just like voraciously consuming it Monday, listening to everything because of what happened, what we saw on the field. And sure, the Packers were favorites, but looking like this was a surprise. What was the most surprising part for you?
I would just say how fast the defense played. And listen, I knew they were going to be a lot better in Jeff Hafley's second year as a defensive coordinator, but you plug in Micah Parsons and his ability to raise the play of everybody else was just so fun to watch. I mean, you talk about Lucas Van Ness, thought he had a great game. Rashawn Gary getting after the QB, Colby Wooden getting after the QB, Micah Parsons being disruptive and really making an immediate impact. You talk about the pressure on the quarterback, and then you talk about their ability to get to the ball so fast. It's not just 1 or 2 guys. It's like half the defense is getting to the ball so quick, and they were stuffing the run. And I mean, this is, I think, the version of the defense we expected to see under Jeff Hafley. Now that he has the right pieces, it all came together very nicely in week 1. So I say the defense really surprised me.
Yeah, the coaches always look better when the players play well. And I do think Jeff Hafley had a terrific game plan here. I think that they had the Lions mail read. This was, and I think part of that too is, right, like new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, and you have them trying to paint by numbers. I think the Lions were trying to let's just call the same stuff. And it's like, well, that's not how this works. Like, you have to be able to evolve. You have to be able to grow. And so bringing Jeff Hafley back, I think that continuity was really important here because they did look different, right? They showed some different things, but Lucas Van Ness, Edgerrin Cooper, Quay Walker, Evan Williams with the interception, like these are guys that the Packers needed to take a step forward, and kind of to a man they did.
Yeah, and that's why I think this year 2 leap has been so impressive. Again, one game into the season. But again, this is what you expect players to do. You want them to have that jump, and you want them to just play more comfortable on the field and in the system. But I just think you add in Micah Parsons, and it raised the level of play for everybody because he's getting double teamed out there, opens up opportunities for other pass rushers, brings pressure, forces the quarterback to throw quick, leads to interceptions or turnovers. So just having his body on the field, even for limited snaps, shows just the potential of what this defense can be. But then the question is, imagine what they can look like when Micah Parsons is 100%. I mean, that's going to be scary.
It was already scary. I mean, there were times Colby Wooden joked after the game. He was like, they forgot to block me on that play where he stuffed the ball near the goal line. They forgot to block him. And part of that is new offensive line and all that stuff. But I think you're going to see this throughout the season. Teams are going to be so worried about Micah Parsons that you're going to get free rushers, or you're going to get, half blocks on guys. And the Packers showed that they have the talent defensively. All of a sudden, Colby Wooden looks like a contributing player. I thought he could have gotten cut, Lily, before the preseason. I thought he was on the block potentially. So that sort of defensive improvement, I think, is what you want. It's just not what we always see. It helped too that the offense got up to a fast start, right? They go down and they score right away. This is unknowable, of course, but do you think if the Packers had won the toss, would they have taken the ball?
I think they probably would have. I mean, it just feels like Matt LaFleur loves to just go for it and show, okay, listen, we're going to go out there, get a fast start. If I won the toss, I want my offense to have the ball. So I think even now he would have done it because, again, I think, he wants to prove that, listen, this is still a very potent offense. Guys had a lot of drops last year. Jordan was hurt. He wasn't 100%. But this is kind of the version of the offense we expect to have out there. And yeah, there was a lull. There was a third quarter lull. They figured it out in the final period. But again, when they are clicking on all cylinders, this is still a really talented offense, one that's hard to stop. So I'd say, why not? Go for it if you can, / if you want.
I thought Dan Campbell made a tactical error giving the Packers the ball to start the game. I think they should have taken the ball. You lose Ben Johnson. If you're Dan Campbell, you want to say, we're the same team. We're just going to go down there and do what we've done for the last 3 years, right? 4 years against the Packers. And that is impose your will. And they just didn't do it. I thought that was a mistake. The offensive line, they dominated in the passing game, especially in the trenches. I thought Jordan Love looked really good. What did you make of the Jordan Love performance? Understanding, look, there were 2 plays that he probably wants to have back. By and large, I thought he played well. What did you think of Love's performance?
I thought he was efficient. I think, a lot was made of what will he look like handing off that football with the wrap on his left thumb. He didn't really practice handing off.
Is that even a story? It didn't seem like one to me.
Right. I mean, the first play of the game, what's he do? Hand the ball off with his left hand to Josh Jacobs.
Matt LaFleur trolling us with that one, I think.
Yeah. And so I thought he looked good. He was efficient. You mentioned there were a couple plays he would have liked to have back, but when he has that deep ball down, that throw to Romeo, when he has that deep ball down, he is as lethal as any other quarterback any other top quarterback in the NFL. I thought he managed the game very well. Outside of that one little sequence there, he didn't put the ball at risk. Yeah. He did enough with his legs and just found a way to find guys. And I thought it was just really nice being able to spread the wealth. And I think it was 8 or 9 different pass catchers kind of passed. So, you distribute the football well. 10? Goodness. Yeah. So, yeah.
It was 6 on the first drive alone because the Savion Williams one counts as a pass, which I think is silly, but it does. So, I do wonder about that, Lily. Is that version of this offense sustainable, do you think?
I think for now, but I think as the season goes on,
Christian Watson's going to be back soon.
Right. And you still have Matthew Golden, who, again, wasn't targeted, I think, as much as people thought he would be in this game. So, again, you have those playmakers, Jayden Reed still, Romeo Doubs still, Dontavian Wicks even, who, Matt LaFleur said it's a good problem to have, but it's going to be a challenge to figure out a way to get everybody the reps that they want. But that's just the reality of the situation. They have a lot of guys on the team that want their reps and rightfully so. So, but I do think, as the season moves on, there might be kind of a hierarchy that forms with the pass catchers. But for now, I think it's good enough.
And winning cures it, right? You watch the guy. I just happened to be watching the play because Tucker Kraft was mic'd up for that touchdown, and the whole team comes over and is just hype for him. And so this is a team that I do think very much plays for one another. It's a young team. They feel like they're a close team. And so you hope that can keep them all together. Dontavian Wicks does not seem like the kind of guy that's that worried about it. maybe Jayden Reed, maybe Romeo Doubs. We know Romeo Doubs had some concerns about the play calling last year and some of the designs. I think they're going to keep winning, and I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. Now they're going to have to turn their attention to the Washington Commanders awfully quickly. This was a team last year when you played the Detroit Lions. It was basically an automatic loss the next week, but that's because the Lions kicked people's butts in the trenches. They played physically. The Packers out-physicaled the Lions, no doubt about it. What would be your biggest worry about this quick turnaround for the Packers?
Well, first of all, it's the health of their offensive linemen. What's Zach Tom's status? He has a hip injury. Is Aaron Banks going to be 100%? He left with an ankle injury. So those are two guys that really anchored your best starting five. And when they were out there, I mean, they were giving Jordan Love all day to throw. So what's the health of your offensive linemen? Will they be playing on Thursday? But I think the bigger question is, can this defense keep Jayden Daniels and his legs in check? Because he can, he's more mobile than Jared Goff. So he?
That's an understatement.
That's correct. So
you caught yourself there. You were like, wait a second.
Wait a minute. That's like saying, Caleb Williams can't run or whatever. So it's can they keep Jayden Daniels in front of them and not let him beat him with his legs? I think that's going to be a big key because, again, this is still a potent offense. It's still Jayden Daniels. He'll make something crazy happen with his arm. But if you keep him in check and kind of make him one-dimensional per se, which is still tough to do, they have a good shot. But I think it's a really good test. We saw this version of the defense against the Lions. Can they replicate it against another dynamic offense on Thursday?
More with Lily Zhao next on Locked On Packers. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. I did really well on Sunday. Week one can be a troublesome spot, but you got to stick with your gut. Luckily for me, my gut made me some money on FanDuel. I was getting some good odds, some nice plus odds on some of these. The Jaguars came through for me. Who'd have thunk it? The Jaguars came through. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. The question for the Commanders to me is, can you avoid the big plays? And they were so good against the Lions, avoiding giving. There was nothing down the field all game. How many times did Jared Goff, big play action, wants to take the shot and there's nothing there? They have to be able to do that against the Commanders because otherwise this is an underneath offense. This is I just want to throw the ball short. Here's 4 yards. Here's 5 yards. Get the ball to Deebo Samuel in space. Get the ball to Zach Ertz in space. And then take your shots to Terry McLaurin down the field. If they can limit those shots, they have to be. You mentioned it, and I love the point that you made about the swarming. I mean, it was a wave of green to the ball every single time. They're going to need to do that. My only question is, on a short week, are you going to have the legs to do that? Like, that's my thing is, are these guys going to be a little gassed? That week one game meant so much. Like, what are the chances of not an emotional letdown, but a physical letdown after all the exertion?
Right. And if you look at how much the defense played in that first half, I mean, the Lions had, a 9-minute, 22-second drive that resulted in a field goal. I mean, they were making their way down the field, albeit very
Packers got killed in time of possession. So I am a little bit worried about the legs and guys being a little bit more banged up than they might otherwise be.
Right. The Lions were able to capitalize on any of their trips in the red zone until the very end. That could be a different story for Washington. So you're right. It's can they kind of keep that physicality up, knowing how much they played and were on the field on Sunday? Because, like you mentioned, it's this Washington offense can, nickel and dime you, but they can also throw the big play at the end. So it'll be, an enormous, task for this defense coming on a short week. But that's why you rely on your offense, right? See if they can, if they need to outscore Washington if possible.
And if they need to, like, this offense, I think is capable of doing it, right? But the New York Giants could not protect their quarterbacks last week. And this is not I didn't think, at least anyway, a very good Commanders pass rush, but they got some really good productivity last week. They have to be able to keep Jordan Love clean. I will add, we talked about this in the open, Jordan Love against the blitz, 8 of 9 for 128 yards and a touchdown, 5 first downs. They had such a good protection plan. This is a Packers team. Remember what happened the last time the Packers played a Dan Quinn defense? Matt LaFleur ate his lunch in Dallas in that playoff game. And so, like, what are the counters going to be? We saw the Jeff Hafley masterpiece in week one. Do we see the Matt LaFleur masterpiece in week 2? How big would it be, Lily? Two games against 2 NFC contenders from a year ago, 2 teams coming into the league or this season with NFC contention aspirations. The Packers will go 2-0. This is a huge game.
I think it's a massive game because, we're not talking about divisional wins because that comes way at the end of the schedule for the Packers, way at the end of the year.
Weird schedule this year. Well, they don't play another division games until Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's just very compact at the end of the year. So, you check your box for, okay, we're 1-0 in the division for now because that's just the way our schedule is laid out. The Commanders are going to be a contender. Check off another box, beat them, get ahead of them, and know the fact that last year, again, we talked about it. They were a good team. They weren't a great team. They beat the teams they had to, but they couldn't beat the teams that they needed to. Yep. So I think Thursday is a great chance to do that and to have the opportunity to do so. I think it's a huge game for the Packers. I think if they can come out 2-0 against the Lions and Commanders, I think that really sets them up for success later in the year, depending on, how the standings do shake out.
I don't want to look too far in the future, but I was just talking about this on radio. I think this Packers team is going to show up against the best teams. I think that is going to be a focus this year. My question right now is, can you keep that focus? Let's say week 3 against the Browns. You've got the Panthers. They do have some teams on the schedule where they may not have to bring their A+ game to win. I want to see this team show, hey, look, we can play in these big games, but we can also there's no cupcakes in the NFL. No one's playing, Middle Tennessee State in week 1, but you're going to have to show up in some of these games. We just saw the Browns give the Bengals everything they could handle in week 1. I know the Bengals stink in week 1, but to me, they answered one question about the big games in week 1. Week 2, they're going to have another one of those, but then they've got 10 days rest to play what we think is going to be a bad team. I want to see them show up I want to see them win that game by 20. That's I feel in some ways the next step here.
Absolutely. I think if you're going to be a Super Bowl caliber team, you need to prove why you are. And that is by beating bad teams by a lot, because that's what really good teams contending for a Super Bowl should do. And so week 3, there should be no lapse of focus. They should go in there knowing, listen, let's put up 35 early, and then maybe we can even rest our starters in the fourth quarter if it gets out of hand. That's what the goal should be. The goal should be, we're going to run out our opponent and drop 35 plus on them, and then we're having a nice Sunday. And so the mentality shouldn't be, we don't really have to play our best game and we'll still win, but then, it might come down to a late second field goal. And it's that's not what you want if you want to prove why you're in the upper echelon of the NFC. So you're right. I think the focus has to remain there all season long. This is still a young team. You have Jordan Love, Xavier McKinney, Josh Jacobs, guys who are veterans who can, hopefully keep their guys in check and keep them focused. But that's the journey this year for this Packers team. It's the youngest team. Can they keep their focus from now until what they hope is February?
What they hope is February. Wouldn't that be something for this Green Bay Packers team? Okay, as we try and preview this game a little bit, because it's a quick turnaround, I always ask you in these matchups, okay, give me the X factor. It doesn't have to be a big name, but it could be a big name. I'll let you want to pick Micah Parsons, you're more than welcome to, but give me the X factor for this game.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm going to say Josh Jacobs. Okay. And for this reason, obviously it was, we knew what the strategy for the Lions was against him. Stack the box. Don't let him get big runs. I think if Josh Jacobs can get going, if the ground game can get going, you keep the Commanders offense on the sideline, you put together some nice 7, 8, 9-minute scoring drives, and you lead with Josh Jacobs, I think that would be a nice way to give your defense a breather, keep the Commanders and Jayden Daniels on the sideline, and just grind out the clock and show why, you're the better team.
Look, this is the best way to save your defense, right? To have these long drives. Part of the problem for the Packers is they were scoring too quickly, 2-play touchdown drives. That's not a good way to protect your defense, but I think the Packers are going to take 2-play touchdown drives as often as they can get them. Lily, we will talk to you next week, hopefully after the Green Bay Packers are 2-0.
Thanks, Peter.
All right, thanks to Lily for joining the show. Always great to talk with her. We're back tomorrow with so much more here on the Locked On Podcast Network, Locked On Packers. The squad show is tomorrow night, 7:15 Lambeau time. We're always going to be here for you on Wednesday, our crossover Thursday coming up. So a ton of great content coming your way as the Packers take on the Commanders here on Thursday night. Follow me on all the social medias. Follow the podcast on the social medias. Subscribe to the podcast. wherever you find podcasts. Watch us on YouTube. We're live on Wednesday night for the Squad Show. We're going to be live on Thursday night, Locked on Packers, then Locked on Packers Squad Show postgame, 90 minutes of the postgame, so you can stay locked on Packers.